Hey, welcome to Survé Speaks, and in a way this is the segment on current affairs, but kind of a little bit of a sad one. So today, an icon of the business community, Mr. Raymond Ackerman, who's 92 years of age, passed on. Now, I don't know Raymond Ackerman very well. I've met Mr. Ackerman a few times, but I do know his children very well. So I know Gareth Ackerman very well, and I know Suzanne Ackerman or Berman very well, and my condolences go to them and to their mom. I think it's Wendy Ackerman, at this very difficult time for them. So I want to extend the condolences of myself, my family, the independent media community, as well as the entire Second group to the Ackerman family. But a little bit about Mr. Ackerman and the Ackerman family. Mr. Ackerman was a real icon. I think he started his career with either Checkers or OK. And then eventually, he went on to found Pick n Pay, and he was a fantastic entrepreneur, and he was also a philanthropist, and he contributed immensely towards philanthropy, and he was one of the few business leaders in the retail sector, or I would say in business, that gave non-white people an opportunity to be able to go up the ranks of Pick n Pay. And in fact, I know two of the CFOs that were CFOs of Pick n Pay were actually colored and Muslim CFOs of Pick n Pay. And that was testimony to the kind of culture that was present in the Pick n Pay fraternity. But there's another more closer to home reason why I think Mr. Ackerman is someone that I respect tremendously. When I was chairman of the advisory board of the Graduate School of Business of the University of Cape Town, this is the top business school on the African continent, and I was the chairman for a number of years. And I was also on the board prior to that, prior to being chairman. And one of the things during my tenure was to try and encourage entrepreneurship to be taught at the university. And I was very lucky to have the director of the school, Walter Bates, and prior to him, the previous director, Nick. And both of them were really committed to entrepreneurship. So as chairman, we drove the idea of trying to teach entrepreneurship at the University of Cape Town Business School. And so we set up the Bertha Center for entrepreneurship with someone whom I knew very well, a young man who went to work for the World Economic Forum, came back and went back there again, and so was now, I think, involved with the Schwab Foundation for social entrepreneurship in Switzerland for the World Economic Forum. But importantly, we established the Bertha Center for entrepreneurship, but also the Raymond Ackerman Academy for entrepreneurship. Now, I may be wrong in terms of recollecting exactly what it was called, but it was certainly the Raymond Ackerman. It was funded by the Ackerman family in honor of Raymond Ackerman, and it was there to train people in entrepreneurship. So I'm very grateful to Raymond Ackerman and the Ackerman family for having made that contribution towards the university, because the intake, I think it was the Ackerman Academy, was predominantly non-white people who were then trained in the basics of, I think it was also a kind of the Action Aim program. I can't remember the details right now, but I'm very thankful for that. But there's one other reason why I'm thankful to Raymond Ackerman, and I said this to him when I did meet him. In 1999, it was a long time ago, but the Cape Times had their Businessman of the Year awards. I think they called it the Business Personality of the Year. I had just left medicine in 1997, end of 97, and the beginning of 99, I had listed Second Jala Investments, today called AEI, which is different from Second Jala Holdings, on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, and I was the youngest CEO of the JSE. And because of that, I was honored by the Cape Times at the Business Personality of the Year Awards. And there were 2 awards given that day. And there's a story to both of us, but not for now. The top award was given to Mr. Johan Rupert. And the award for the up-and-coming or business excellence award, like the number 2 award, if you like, overall, they had 3 different awards, was given to me as the business personality, business excellence person, etc. And that was the Cape Times Award, ironically a newspaper which I own today. But the point I want to make present there at the awards evening was Mr. Raymond Ackerman. Now, Mr. Raymond Ackerman came to congratulate me for having received this award. And then I said to him, you know, Mr. Ackerman, you don't know me, but I know you. And he said to me, how come? So I said, well, I grew up in Kenilworth. He was quite shocked. And I said to him, I grew up in Kenilworth below the railway line, and I am Mr. Ali's son. And he got quite a shock because he knew my dad. And he said, yes, I've been to your shop many times below the railway line. I said, yes, my dad always spoke very, very fondly of you. You know, so he was really shocked. But then I said to him something else. I said to him, I will always be grateful to you. And he said, why? I said, well, my dad was a small cafe owner, and he supported a family of about 20 people, including his younger brothers and sisters and others, and extended family, and all from a tiny cafe. But as time went on, my dad decided that he's going to become a spice entrepreneur, meaning that he's going to get spices from Durban. Some people thought it came from India, but it actually came from Durban. And we had to repackage the spices into little tubes, into little bags and things like that. And the name of the spices, I'll never forget, was Bombay Special, like, you know, Bombay today called Mumbai in India. For some crazy reason, that was the name. And the other name was Sheikh's Exotics and Simply Spices. Now, my dad was a tiny little bit of an entrepreneur. So over time, you know, we were able to move the spice business from little yard at the back. It was not a pleasant experience, by the way, to fill up spices, because if you're ever sneezing, you smell like spices. The ginger you have to, you know, it's crazy stuff. Into a little garage, you know, down the road near the race course. Then finally into the area, the coloured area of Lansdowne, when we moved to Lansdowne. And his shop was very famous. My dad's shop was very famous because it was called Sheikh's Agencies. But it was the place where you actually bought your spices. But this was the important thing. Just as all of that happened, Kenilworth Centre, which was the first big shopping centre in Cape Town, opened up in Kenilworth. And our little corner cafe died because, you know, we could not offer what Pick n Pay in Kenilworth Centre offered. And so, you know, it became more difficult. But what happened is my dad went to Mr. Ackerman, whom he knew from coming into the shop, because I think the Ackermans lived above the line. And then what happened is he asked if he could supply spices to Pick n Pay. And believe it or not, Mr. Ackerman gave, I'll never forget, 2 rows in Pick n Pay Kenilworth Centre to my dad to supply the Bombay Special spices. And so my dad ended up being the main supplier to Pick n Pay of spices, and his competitor was Robertson Spices at the time. And so I don't think we made a lot of money because our living conditions never really improved. But nonetheless, you know, my dad was very proud. Whenever you walked through Pick and Pays. You could see Bombay Special Spices. And then slowly, he had the brand called Simply Spice and Shakes Exotics. And there you are. So for Mr. Ackerman, I'm thankful, and to the Ackerman family, for that little journey in my family life of entrepreneurship. And I remember Mr. Ackerman fondly, and may he have much peace, may he rest in peace, and may his family have much strength through this very difficult time. I thank you.